Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the problem with Christopher Nolan. So for this video, I'm going to discuss the problem with Christopher Nolan when it comes to an issue with the way he directs movies, which I just want to make it clear this is not another rage bait video where we're just trying to piss people off. He's a very talented filmmaker who's made some really good movies, but this is just constructive criticism of the way he does movies, as well as a lesson that people can learn from this for anyone who's aspiring to make films, okay? When it comes to the problem with the way Christopher Nolan directs his films, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So the problem with Christopher Nolan when it comes to the way he directs his films is the way he shoots his movies, okay? That's a problem with it, is the way he directs the movies in a camera perspective, or just in general the way he directs his movies. He's what you refer to as someone who likes to experiment with the way a movie format is done. So the best way I can sum it up is the problem with the way he makes movies is the movie format he does. Because when it comes to Christopher Nolan movies, whether it could be Dunkirk, where they literally shoot the whole movie, if not close to the whole movie, in of course one angle of a perspective, like you're watching a video game character who of course is fighting in a game, a first person shooter game, which is one of the examples I can give. The problem with how he directed Dunkirk, or it could be of course another example could be the problem with the way he directed Oppenheimer, where they're constantly doing backs and forths between showing Oppenheimer's life in the present and his life in the past over and over and over again, which can get tiresome. And thirdly and lastly, of course, the newest one, of course, the Odyssey, where he shot a movie where too much of it was just a flashback, okay? And that is exactly the problem with Christopher Nolan, okay? When it comes to the way he directs movies. He doesn't direct movies in a basic standard format that everybody's used to. He directs it in a way where he likes to experiment with the movie format, okay? The way he directs the movie. So the best way I could say is the movie type format, okay? Because to explain what a movie type format is the way a movie's directed. Like, you obviously have the beginning, you have the middle, you have the end, and they tend to when they have a movie format, when movies are made, they tend to be done a certain particular way, like they direct things precisely going on from a certain perspective, like from the very beginning to the end of it, in chronological order. You have a movie type format where obviously the beginning of the movie shows what happens, and most of the movie afterwards, of course, shows what happened in the past, to even the way you direct the movie with the camera. Those are examples of movie formats, okay? So that's exactly what I'm trying to get here if you don't know what a movie format is. And when it comes to the way Christopher Nolan likes to direct movie formats, the problem with him is that he just likes to try to do different things. And the problem with doing different things like that is that I just don't think it's a very good idea. Because the truth of the matter is, at this point in history, okay, let's keep it real, okay, whether you want to admit or not, everything that you can think of in one way or another has already been thought of, okay? And the truth of the matter is, when it comes to trying to do something like this, I just don't think we need to do this anymore. I don't think we need to try new movie formats when it comes to directing movies and stuff, because at the point when it comes to movies, of course, I think we've reached perfection when it comes to movie formats, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, when it comes to directing a good movie, what I feel comes down to directing a movie, which is a lesson, I'm trying to get across, is it comes down to how good the movie is done, okay? How good is the idea of the movie? How good is not just the idea of the movie, but how good is the script? good is it in terms of course, no shit, having no plot holes whatsoever. Like, that's what I want to focus on when I see a movie, okay? Trying to experiment with new things, like new ways of directing movies, I just feel is a gimmick. And I just don't think I'm really down with it, okay? I just don't see like what it really does. Because in the end of the day, I just feel like anything, especially when it comes to like technology, at one point, especially if you grew up. When I was growing up, like the 1990s to the 2000s, at one point people tended to base how good things were based on technology. But nowadays, when you look back at things, specifically in this case, something like video games, realize you can have the best technology ever, and the stuff you can make can still suck ass. And when it comes to movies, it's no different, in a sense, okay? And it's not saying necessarily technology, but it's like technology. It's gimmicks. It's trying to do something that no one's ever done before, and this and that, experimenting to sum it up, instead of just sticking with something that's actually good. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. Just like how people used to think that by having all this CGI and things like video games, these high quality technology, graphics and stuff are going to make the video game so much better, but you can have the best graphics ever and the things still suck. And when it comes to movies, in this regard, it's the same thing. You can try to do new things, and if the thing you produce, the script and the plot and everything is not really well made, it will still suck. And that's what I'm trying to get across here when I say it's a gimmick. So to sum up what I'm trying to say here, when it comes to movies, I feel what people should focus more on is not trying to experiment, like trying to do something different and all this type of stuff, or even just having, aside from this different movie format, but maybe a different art style or all that type of stuff, which everyone is trying to do, which is so lame. Just focus on having a good script, okay? In other words, to sum it up, a good story for your movie. Have a well-written, because I just feel like when you focus on doing things like Christopher Nolan, it's just a gimmick, and like anything, it comes and it goes, to be quite blunt and honest with you, okay? And I just don't think I'm really, a big fan of it, or more like I'm not a big fan of it, okay? Because not only will it encourage people to maybe sometimes be copycats, and everyone starts doing it, and then they just screw everything up, it also, of course, just doesn't necessarily guarantee quality. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here. Like, instead of trying to focus on, this is the first movie ever that was shot in one, exact camera motion, or this is the first movie ever that has the highest definition, when it comes to the characters, all that type of stuff, and even just straight up down to, of course, the art style or the movie format, like I was getting at for this whole video, pretty much. Just focus on writing a good story, and that's what I'm trying to say when it comes to movies and my constructive criticism of Christopher Nolan. Okay, because it just seems nowadays Christopher Nolan just tries to focus on doing things differently when it comes to movie format, instead of just simply just making a story that's just enjoyable to watch. And that's problematic and a very toxic way of thinking, okay? And the truth of the matter is, of course, the lesson there is to learn from this video, for anyone who's an aspiring filmmaker and all that type of stuff, is when you're making a film, you don't have to waste time with trying to be different, okay? You don't have to waste time trying to be different in that type of way, okay? If you want to be different, just come up with a new type of plot idea, okay? And just stick to the basic movie format, and of course, trying to create a good movie story, or something, and that's all you really have to do. You don't have to try to be someone who's just doing things differently from everybody else, and then you actually consume the stuff that's like, it wasn't even really that good. And that's exactly what I'm trying to get across here when it comes to the problem with Christopher Nolan. He's just trying to experiment with that's a problem with Christopher Nolan, okay? And for anyone who's an aspiring filmmaker who watches my videos, don't make the same mistake he's made. Just simply focus on, um, you know, writing a good story so you can produce the best quality possible instead of focusing on gimmicks, okay? And that's the truth. So anyway, this is my video. This is all I have to say. And simply put it, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And that's all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.